Spotify to partner Hulu in joint subscription deal. A US-China trade war de-escalates. Facebook Cambridge Analytical scandal erodes investor confidence. Inflation in Nigeria drops to 13.34%. Hello and welcome to Global Business Review on Pride Television. Reaching you from Lagos, Nigeria, my name is Joy Onka. The new subscription plan, Spotify Premium, now with Hulu. Here are the trending global news on business. Spotify to partner with Hulu in a joint subscription deal. A US-China trade war de-escalates. Facebook Cambridge Analytical scandal erodes investor confidence. And inflation in Nigeria drops to 13.4334%. And hello and welcome to Global Business Review on Pride Television. Reaching you from Lagos, Nigeria, my name is Joy Onka. The new subscription plan, Spotify Premium, now with Hulu, brings the two popular services together and allows subscribers to enjoy a world of free music ad on Spotify Premium, as well as more than 75,000 current and classic hit television shows and movies on Hulu's ad-supported service. Now, all this comes for a single $12.99 a month subscription plan. Now, here with me to explore some of the wider implications of this first-of-its-kind partnership is VWS analyst and business correspondent Lekon Fakuejo.
Thank you so much for having me.
All right, Lekon, we're seeing something new in the industry where Spotify and Hulu. Spotify is a music streaming giant, and we have Hulu, a movie streaming giant, coming together to make what will be a first-time partnership of its kind.
Wow.
Now, what kind of a market do we see Spotify and Hulu in, and who are the key players that interact with them in this market?
Well, Spotify and Hulu, they operate in a market which is oligopolistic in nature. Where this is because due to the entry and exit barrier, it's quite high. It's on the high side. It's quite difficult for investors or companies who wants to go into online streaming to come in just like that and leave just like. It's quite hard to do so because of the capital intensive of the nature, the capital intensive nature of the industry. You have to spend a lot to offer better service in terms of infrastructure, and also to lure subscribers towards the business, the online platform, because you need certain things to lure subscribers towards your platform. Now, that's why most of these online streaming companies now, including when it comes to music and of course movies, they're trying to have their original content rather than depend solely on outside or external production. So this industry is quite hard. But those who are involved, early companies who went into the market in an early age, I think they rip off for their investments. We have someone like we have a company like Netflix who started the game, and they've been on top of their game since they started now. Now, when it comes to the key players now, in the side of Spotify, we all know that Spotify is an online streaming music platform, and they consider Apple and Amazon as the key competitors. And we have to notice that Apple has over 38 million subscribers. According to their last release, they have over 30 million subscribers. While for Amazon, they are yet to release the exact subscribers they have. But they believe, but in their last statement, when it comes to their subscribers now, Amazon stated that they have tens of millions of subscribers. Though that leaves analysts to probably guess the kind of numbers that Amazon can probably have for now. Now, you have to know that Spotify in the key industry now, Spotify has has 36% shares, while for Apple has 17, and for Amazon it has 10. But when it comes to Hulu's market, we all know Hulu is operating the video online streaming platform. Now, Hulu considers Netflix, HBO, CBS Access, Showtime, all these companies as their key competitors in the market.
All right, Lekon, you just mentioned the likes of Apple and Amazon with Netflix now. How does Spotify and Hulu hope to achieve market share against these competitors that they have currently?
Of course, the way they hope to get the market share or to maintain the one they have right now is what they are doing, which is striking partnership with companies that they believe can help them grow. Now, you have to believe that Spotify has over 70 million paying subscribers. Now, just because they offer music alone, now with the incentive of giving their subscribers a movie platform a platform where they can watch both series and of course movies, though it comes with ad. But still, this can lure subscribers towards their platform, because even without movies, they have over 70 million subscribers. And in total, they have over 100 million subscribers. Now, when it comes to Hulu has 17 million subscribers according to the last statistics. According to statistics, Hulu has 17 million subscribers. Now, for Hulu to have that just based on or solely on their movie platform, it shows that they have what it takes. And for them, for Spotify coming in now, it shows that they can now attract more subscribers. Subscribers from Spotify can join Hulu's platform, and subscribers from Hulu's platform can also join Spotify, because don't forget that one thing Spotify is lacking is the other, creating a different platform where they can also get revenue. Spotify is based solely on music, and this is why there are people believe that platforms like Apple and Amazon might probably get or catch up to them, because Apple has over 38 million subscribers in how many years they've been around, and why Spotify has been around for over 12 years, whilst Apple has been around for over 4 years or 5 years now. So when you look at that, when you look at the growth of Apple in the last year rating, you realize that they are trying to catch up with Spotify, and the only way they can maintain their market share is to get involved in partnerships like this, because this would help them grow their market share, and for Hulu as well to compete well with Netflix, who is on top of the game right now, who many people consider as threats. The only way Hulu can, of course, maintain their market share or even grow the market share and as well the subscribers is to enter into partnerships like this, in order to give other subscribers a platform where they can also listen to music. So when they realize that they are getting two platforms, is that Apple plans to also go into movies, streaming their own movies to their own subscribers. They believe they have the name, and so they can use that to attract subscribers. But Apple plans to go into movies and series as well, but they want to use their Apple Music platform to do that. So that means subscribers who are on Apple Music platform would have the opportunity to stream these movies and videos live. Now, that is Apple's plan. Now, when it comes to Amazon is already in both the video online streaming and also the audio online streaming, which is the music online streaming as well. Now, this Amazon seems to have already got tabled all this, or add the team, in order to get a proper team that can as well push that plan towards 2020, because Apple plans to make double of their revenue, according to Tim Cook. He said the Apple plans to make double revenue from both Apple Music and also Apple Movies and Apple series as well. So Amazon, like I said, they already have the footprint. They've already started. Immediately they started it, that was Amazon Prime instant videos, and they also have that of movies. So Amazon already have what it takes. They have the plans scheduled already for them. So Apple is the one taking the step right now to also go in line with that, even though Spotify is just partnership, it's not original. Others have original content.
Okay, Leko, now, when we talk about Spotify, we know that it has long used its freemium service,
of course,
to lure subscribers to its platform.
Yes.
Now, with this partnership, how do you see Spotify's revenue growing, same with its subscriber base? How do you see this growing?
Well, it would grow because Spotify is offering its subscribers a price of 2 for 1. Now subscribers now don't have to just subscribe on Spotify for just music, which is what we all know Apple for. Spotify for. For their 12 years in the market now, they've been only music and music and music. And people have been wondering, how do they want to make their profits? How do they want to grow their market share? Apple is catching up to them. It's catching up on them with the rate at which Apple's subscriber rate is growing. It shows that Spotify is under pressure. And now, due to the pressure, they've decided to go into this partnership. And this partnership is a good one that people have seen coming though, because they've made it in light last year. So Spotify already have this in plan. So having such partnership would grow their subscribers, because Hulu has 17 million subscribers, don't let's forget. And now they're not just offering movie lovers a movie platform, they're also offering a movie platform at a cheaper rate compared to other competitors. Netflix has Netflix offers $14.99 for their own subscription rate per month, We have HBO who do the same thing for $14.99 per month. We have orders like that. So Spotify is bringing $12 in, saying $12.99 in that. You know what? You can get our music platform and also get the movie platform for this rate, lower than if you go by individual per month rates. So this will help them increase their growth rates. It will also help them increase their revenue. That means now they don't just have revenue from just music alone. They also have revenue from the movie angle. So it will, of course, increase their growth rate, their subscribers rate, and of course the revenue, which is the most important thing in business.
Okay, we're still looking at the price now. Spotify and Hulu are giving us options at $12.99.
Yes.
Now let's look at price competitiveness when we compare it to Amazon's Prime. Now, how do we see
competition? Customers are the ones who would end up, who would be in favor, or should I say, who would benefit. It's still something. It means a lot to the subscribers. So if the competitors realize this, they will get to bring their price down. That's why the competitiveness in the industry is quite high, and it would end up favoring the consumers, the subscribers, I mean.
All right, Leko, I'm aware that Disney is a part owner of Hulu.
Of course.
Now, with Spotify coming to merge, having a partnership with Hulu, do we see a big collaboration of big medias in this industry, or is this a mere coincidence?
Well, I know most people will probably think it's coincidence, but it's not. It's not coincidental. It's been in the work for over a year now. Last year, Spotify and Hulu actually brought out the same package. Last year, September, if I'm not mistaken, last year, September, yes, they both brought out the same package, but the package was for students in the United States. So that package was an education package, and Spotify offered it for $4.99. Okay. Now, the offer is, that means that, I know in normal days, Spotify offered their online music stream for students now for that same price, for $4 as well. So it's like offering their subscribers Spotify on a normal price, then give them Hulu for free. That was last year. Okay. And when they announced this package last year, Spotify and Hulu promised that they would branch out, they would spread the incentives, they would spread the package across board, which means other subscribers as well can enjoy it. Subscribers on premium who are not on students package can also enjoy it. And now they are fulfilling that promise. They're fulfilling that promise now. And now it looks coincidental because Disney is planning to acquire, has a share in Hulu. Yes. And also Disney is planning to go into an online streaming service. So people are probably thinking that is this a partnership? Would Disney have a stake in Spotify? Would this and that happen? But it's not coincidental. It has been in the work for a very long time, since last year. But it's not accidental, it's not coincidental, it's nothing about that. It's just a planned work that has been in the works for a year now.
All right, it's just a planned work that has been a long process before now. Yes. All right, thank you very much, Lekon, for joining us on this segment of Global Business Review. Now, moving on from the world of music and movie streaming, the US and China have imposed tariffs on each other's goods. But will a smackage between the world's biggest economies turn into a full-on trade war? Perhaps it's already started, but both sides have struck an initial blow. Now, we know that the United States has imposed tariffs on imports of steel and aluminum from countries accounting for the bulk of imports. And now we also have, last week we had Chinese Premier Xi Jinping. He made a speech where he said improved market conditions. Now, President Xi Jinping laid out plans for several key areas to make the domestic economy more accessible to foreign businesses. President Xi also said that China will increase imports significantly lower, and then he will significantly lower tariffs on automobiles, and the import speed efforts to open up its financial markets and increase enforcement of intellectual property protection. Now, Lekon is still here with me to analyze this development. And Lekon, you've been following the story on the US and China trade war, and now it's beginning to look like it is escalating, and at a point the Chinese president has come out to say he's going to lower imports on certain tariffs.
Of course.
One of them is cars, and then we have that for aluminium and on steel. Now, how does this how does the WTO react to this whole thing, given the fact that it's in charge of trade
how do they
between two countries? Now, how does the WTO plan to ensure that
stability.
They ensure stability in the world's economy, given the fact that China had already gone to make its query at the WTO, and right now it's coming back to retract that same query it made?
Well, for me, all what WTO can do is to try to bring both parties to the negotiation table. WTO is probably like a mediator because, yes, this is the World Trade Organization. This is meant to allow diplomacy, allow countries come together and negotiate price or trade in a free market. Now, just make that move to talk about this current looming trade war. But WTO believes that when these parties come together, when they sit on the table and discuss this out, it would limit or reduce the tension. It will limit or reduce the tension currently in the industry, currently in the economic markets. Now, for me, I think if both parties come together, if they come to the table and plan their way out and give to USA and China that, okay, you know what, this is what we want the economy to be. This is what we want both parties to do. They would do it. But we also have some other countries in WTO. We have, and China is among, we have Canada, we have many countries there. These countries can end up probably state that, okay, you know what, they want to retaliate or they want to restrain US from doing that. So they would decide to take China's side. But don't forget that these countries are also trying to limit the power of China when it comes to China's increase or growth in terms of economic now. Because many countries are believing that China's economic growth is something to be scared of. And so this is one of the reasons why US is also creating this, increasing their tariff on China products of over 1,300 products.
Yes.
Now these countries in WTO, the question is, are they willing to come out and support China openly? It's doubtful that they would do that, because that's why we haven't heard any other country talk. The only country we've heard talk now is EU, because this increase in tariff also affects EU, also affects the European Union as well.
All right, Lekon. Now, the IMF last week, the IMF in January released a 3.9% growth rate for the world's economy. And by this week, it will be releasing its latest estimates. And do you think that the tension between the United States and China would depress the economy and the world's growth in any way?
Well, for me, I think, yes, it would affect. It would affect. That's why IMF Christine Lagarde stated that both parties, or should I say countries, have to stay away from protectionism, because she stated that darker clouds are looming due to this current tension that we are getting from tariffs and counter tariffs from the United States and China. Because if it wouldn't affect, I'm sure IMF wouldn't have come out to say such, because you have to realize that these countries have the biggest economy in the world, both United States and China. So if these countries continue to go this way, it would probably have a ripple effect. And at the long run, even countries who are not involved in this trade war right now, in this pre-trade war, if I want to call it that, even countries that are not involved right now might end up being affected. The economy might end up being affected, because if, let's take for instance now, United States is China is the world's largest importer of soya beans. Now, Brazil and United States are exports to China. Now, China and Brazil has over 40% of exports of soya beans to China, while United States has over 30%. Now, if these two countries, now because of the tariff that China has placed on soya beans now, Brazil has increased their soya bean price, which means any other country that wants to buy soya bean from China, from Brazil, they have to pay or high. And you have to know that these countries are not even involved in this current trade war between China and United States, so they will be affected. So that's why IMF believes that they have to solve this dispute. They have to go to the negotiation table and in order not to affect the growth that the world economy currently have right now.
All right, you spoke of protectionism, and then we can see that the United States, China, and even the EU is beginning to toe this lane. Do you think the World Trade Organization is enough deterrent to stop countries from doing this? Now, let's look at Africa coming into the play. Now, if Africa decides to also imbibe this culture of protectionism, do you think that the WTO is enough to serve as a deterrent to stop countries from practicing this protectionism, since we know that it hurts every country?
Well, yes, WTO can serve as a deterrent, but it depends on where you want, on which side of the divide you are. You can go with the fact that WTO can serve as a deterrent, or that they are just mere mediator, because at the end of the day, countries can decide to go unilateral when it comes to trading. Yes, currently they are all bounded by bilateral trading due to the WTO agreements. Yes, they are all bounded by that. But at the end of the day, at the long run, the United States can also decide that they want to go unilateral. Because don't forget that the essence of Trump is starting this tariff is because he stated that it affects job. It affects job increase and also economic growth. He said in the United States now it has affected, and he's trying to bring back manufacturing work to the United States. And don't forget that the United States, this is not the first time the United States will do this. They did this during this with the smooth early tariff acts in 1930, whereby the United States increased their tariff on over 20,000 goods, and at the end of over 30,000 goods. Though at the end of the day, now where WTO comes as a deterrent now is here, because during that time, Canada and other trading partners decided to retaliate. Now, when they retaliated, that affected the United States, and their exports fell by 60%. It fell by 60%. So yes, WTO can come in as a deterrent, but again, don't forget that if these countries can decide to go unilateral by themselves, the WTO is just a mere mediator, whereby they can only call these two parties to the table and tell them to, okay, you know what, iron your disagreement out.
All right, thank you very much, Lekon, for giving us your insights on this very topical issue. We'll go on a break right now, and when we return, Global Business Review continues. Do stay with us. Welcome back. It's still Fry Television, and this is the Global Business Review. And social media giant Facebook faces increased loss of investor confidence as markets react negatively to Cambridge Analytica standard with a loss of about $70 billion. And we have VWS analyst Paul Onelum, who is here to break down the developing story with me. Paul, you're welcome.
It's a pleasure. Thank you so much.
And now, Paul, it's been 4 weeks since we had the Facebook and Cambridge Analytica standard. Now, how is the market reacting to this?
Well, truth be told, the markets have reacted negatively due to this scandal. And as a matter of fact, Facebook has lost over $70 billion for the past few weeks. And now it has cost the other players, even in the industry, to experience a bewitched run, even in their activities. And in one way or the other, due to this scandal, it has affected the market negatively. And that is why this scandal, everyone is waiting for the outcome of the hearing. Okay. All
right, speaking of the hearing now, Mr. Mark Zuckerberg faced the Congress last week. And now, with his testimony at the hearing, and do you think regulators would now increase the standard for entry and exit barriers for players in this industry?
Okay, well, truth be told, Facebook has agreed to terms with one of the regulators, which is the Honest Ad Act. And this implies that Facebook will have to make the public known of those who want to make adverts. Because, like in the last section we had on Global Business Review, we made to understand that Facebook is like a platform that gives avenue for people to advertise and to do live streaming. Now, these regulators now has come up with the idea that Facebook just has to adopt to the Honest Ad Act, which means every other players in the industry will have to be transparent and they'll have to police each and every one of themselves. And with the look of things now, because transparency has come to play, which means they all have to be careful. Even as ads patron, will have to be very careful and will have to think twice before they embark on any advert spree, which means the Honest Ad Act has come to play from the US Congress.
All right, the Honest Ads Act has come to play, so we expect all players in the industry now to inculcate this in their services.
Definitely.
Now, speaking of the Facebook scandal, it is noted that as far back as 2012, Facebook saw this as one of would I say, one of the disadvantages or one of the problems it might face when it comes to data breach. Now, that was as far back as 2012. Now, what did Facebook do to mitigate this whole thing? And then, if Facebook did something, what were those things Facebook did to ensure that we didn't come to this stage?
All right. When they launched into initial public offer, IPO in 2012, Facebook made it known to users that in one way or the other, third parties may come to play using stuffs like during the IPO prospectus, they made users to understand that one or two things may come up, like the technological bugs and all that. So they made use of awareness. Far back in 2012, if you want to log into Facebook or create a profile on Facebook, after creating your name, your details, your date of birth, and every other important information, Facebook made it clear to persons, that's the awareness of context, they made it clear to persons that, all right, in one way or the other, third party may come to play. So you have to be careful. That was the only thing Facebook did. Well, that was one of the things Facebook did, just in order to create awareness, to let people know. The other shortcomings which they didn't do was to add it to their privacy settings. But it was made known in their terms and agreement that you need to be aware that third-party bugs may come to play in one way or the other, which happens to be one of the risk factors even in the market's performance of Facebook.
All right, last week we saw Mark Zuckerberg, Facebook's CEO, at Congress, and where he gave his testimony. What happens after the hearing? How does Facebook plan to save itself? How does Facebook plan to ensure that it maintains market share and ensure brand value and revenue? How does Facebook plan to do all this?
Well, that's a very interesting and very important question, Joy. You agree with me that Facebook is a social media giant, even in the industry, which has over 2.2 billion users and densely populated with people between the ages of 16 to 45, and they occupy about 1.40 billion. That's about 57% of the total users of Facebook. Fine, Philip Kotler made us to understand in 2017 that good products will always sell itself, and Facebook is an example of a good product. Now, Though this has made Facebook to lose a lot, like I said earlier when you asked me the first question, I said Facebook has lost about $70 billion. And now what happens to Facebook after this hearing is that they just, what Facebook is utmost desire for the utmost desire for Facebook now is to try as much as possible to stand well, even in the industry amongst other players. If other users of Facebook decide to migrate to WhatsApp, Facebook owns WhatsApp because it's diversified. If they want to move into Instagram, Facebook also owns Instagram. So in one way or the other, Facebook will still restore its value even in the market, and it will still stand strong. Now, where Facebook has to be very careful is in the side of regulators, because now that he has agreed to terms of the Honest Ad Act now, which means every other regulators or every other rules may also come up in order to put every other players in the industry to check. So what Facebook utmost concern now is to look at the regulators, satisfy the regulators, and make sure they come to terms so that this scandal will not repeat itself again.
All right, thank you very much, Paul, for your enlightenment on this topic.
Thank you.
Now we'll go on a very short break now. When we return, we look at the silver lining in Nigeria's inflation cloud. Do stay with us. Welcome back. It's still the Global Business Review. Africa's largest economy, Nigeria, experiences a silver lining in her inflation cloud as inflation drops for the 14th consecutive time to 13.34%, as announced by the National Bureau of Statistics. Now, on the show today to discuss these developments and its implication on the Nigerian economy is VWS analyst Charles Abuede. Charles, you're welcome.
Thank you very much, Joy.
All right, Charles. Now, let's look at it from the economic standpoint. We know that inflation is a persistent increase in the prices of goods and services. Now, what has been Nigeria's inflation trend in the past years?
Okay, Joy, from your definition, yes, you are very, very correct. You know, inflation is the persistent increase in prices of goods and services. Now, if we look at the NBS actually has come out to announce that the inflation rate, that is the consumer price index, has increased by 13.34%, which actually portends that there is a fall or a drop in inflation by that 13.34% in March, in comparison to what we had in February of 2018 this year, when it was 14.3%. Now, if we look at the inflation trend in Nigeria since, for the past 1 year, since April of 2017, we could see that around that April, the inflation rate was pegged around that 17%. And from then, it started declining, gradually started falling. And in June, it was around 16%. Then coming down gradually also with the various economic activities going on and the meetings of the Monetary Policy Committee. Around November, it fell down to 15%. And as at this year, in 2018, it was announced in February by the National Bureau of Statistics that the inflation rate has fallen to 14.3%. And right now, for March, they've come out also to announce that the inflation rate has fallen to 13.34%. So definitely the inflation trend in Nigeria is, on the gradual fall for the past 1 year.
All right, Charles, you just explained it like the experts that you are. Now, Charles, please explain the relationship between Nigeria's inflation and then the currency exchange rate. Now, also describe what the trend looks like in Nigeria.
Okay. First of all, according to theory in economics, there is this inverse relationship or negative relationship that exists between inflation rate and the exchange rate. Now, if we look at the trend, the way it is in Nigeria, we could see that for some time now, the CBN has placed the exchange rate, the market exchange rate around between 305 to 306 naira for a dollar. And it being stable for that period, the inflation rate, which really has been on the rise and also on the fall, whenever the inflation rate is on the high, it's either the exchange rate is stable or it's low. Likewise, when the exchange rate is high, it's either the inflation rate is stable or is low or it's higher. So there exists a negative relationship between the exchange rate and the inflation rate in Nigeria. Okay,
Charles, the MPC just held its meeting where it retained all rates as it was previously. Now, Charles, is there a relationship between inflation and the MPR and inflation? Could this be the reason why inflation dropped recently, given the fact that rates were retained at the same level where it had been since the previous year?
The interest rate, which is the monetary policy rate, as through the meeting of the MPC this April 4th, when they met, and they were able to retain every parameters of the policy rate at 14%. And this inflation rate now, this is the lowest for more than 2 years in which it has come down. So definitely, if we look at the trend to which it is going, this is the first time for more than 2 years that the inflation rate has come down below the benchmark rate of 14%. Also, the relationship, if we look at it, we can see that there exists also an inverse relationship or a negative relationship between the inflation rate and the interest rate. And with this, the Monetary Policy Committee, definitely they will meet, and like their meeting, definitely they will look for a way still to deliberate more, in this decrease in the inflation rate in March as a way, of looking for them to induce disinflation, in the economy. So they're keeping the rate, the interest rate to be static at 14%, and the inflation rate is dropping. Definitely, it's a good thing for the economy, but still with the relationship, it is a negative one.
Okay, you just said that now that with the inflation rate dropping, it is a good thing for the economy. Now we have elections around the corner, that's in 2019.
Oh, of course.
And with our budget still yet to be approved by the National Assembly. Now, do you think this would put increased inflationary pressures, considering the fact that elections are coming up and we know what the trend looks like when elections are coming up. So do you think that this would increase pressures on the economy? And if it does, what can the MPC do about this?
Okay, let me quote the Statistician General of Nigeria, Dr. Yemi Kale. He has come out and to say that there will be pressure on inflation. There will be inflationary pressure, because which will be due to higher spending, during the second half of the year, and with election being scheduled for February, 2019. There will be much spending, towards the election. At the same time, towards the second half of the year, the possibility, because there's expectation of the increase in minimum wage in Nigeria. So all these things, even at the expectation of the U.S. interest rate, by the Federal Reserve, the U.S. Federal Reserve, all these things come into place to actually put pressure, on the inflation rate. But still, definitely is going to come. The MPC, they are likely to meet next month, which is May. And in their meeting, they are to deliberate, about this decrease in the inflation rate, and also seek, the various ways or means to which they can, try to bring the inflation rate, because it's one of their goals to bring the inflation rate to a single digit, of which they are looking at between 6 to 9%. So definitely, what they can do, according to analysts, is that they can seek to lower the open market operation bills rate, that is the treasury bills or the bonds, in the financial market. So they have to reduce it so as to enable people to, buy, these bonds or the treasury bills as a way to curb inflation. At the same time, the liquidity rate, the market liquidity rate also, they should try to increase it. This will give investors or those that want to borrow money, make use of liquid. It will now give them the interest for them to come in and get loans. So increasing the liquidity, the market liquidity rate, and also decreasing or reducing the OMO bills. Though, that is one of the things they can do.
All right. Okay, now, Charles. Now, the NBS has announced a 0.99% decrease in headline inflation, and that's from February to March. What does this mean to the small business owner in Nigeria?
Well, from the definition, if you look at inflation, they say it is the persistent increase in prices of goods and services over a period of time in an economy. Now, when there is an increase in the price of energy, food, commodities, other goods and services within the economy, this is what leads to inflation. And it's leading to inflation. Definitely, a lot of people will be affected. The economy will be affected. The small business owners will be affected. Even the common man, the customers to those businesses will be affected. In the sense that the cost of doing business, definitely will go up. The cost of living, will increase. Also, the cost of borrowing money, from the financial institutions by these small businesses also will go up. And it's going to affect everyone in the economy, both the business owners and even their customers. So definitely this decrease, as announced by the National Bureau of Statistics, which is a 0.99% point decrease from 14.3% down to 13.34% in March of 2018. So the decrease is a good one. And we also, alongside with the MPC, we anticipate a more reduction in the rate, the inflation rate, to the single digits come in the next second half or within the year.
All right, thank you very much, Charles. Now, before I let you go, now, can you give us your short to medium-term inflationary outlook for the rest of the year?
Okay, analysts actually have come up to say that before the year 2018 runs out, there's likely to be pressure on the inflation rate. Okay. And also with the expectation, just like I've said before, election around the corner, scheduled for February 2019, people will definitely spend for election. Then with the expectation of the minimum wage increase in Nigeria, this also will lead to more money in the economy. Also with the expectation of the U.S. Federal Reserve interest rate, the increase in it, all this will put pressure on the inflation rate. And also, let's not forget, because it has come to place that the analysts, they have projected the inflation rate for April to be around 12%. So with that, it's coming down from this 13% down to 12%, more pressures also will still be on inflation. So from the short to medium term outlook for the rest of 2018 is that there will be pressure on the inflation, and the MPC, alongside every other person in the economy operating, engaging in one activity or the other, also should anticipate for something better. Though the pressure will be high, but it will be for the best and benefits of everyone in the economy. All
right, Charles, pressures might be high, but we should expect the best from it all. Thank you very much for joining us on this edition of Global Business Review. And that concludes the Global Business Review at this hour. Thank you for joining us. And do remember to follow us on all our social media platforms and subscribe to our YouTube channel at Pride Television. My name is Joy Onka. Until next time, it's bye for now.